I think there's an intriguing update when it comes to Onyx. Let me explain why. Not too long ago, very recently actually, Onyx made a post on X and it said that the Onyx wallet is pending App Store approvals and will be available to users as soon as Apple and Google releases it. Why is this, I think, crucial? It's because for quite a while, the Onyx wallet, a lot of people were doubting it. They were like, oh wow, are they ever going to do anything about it? Seems like it's just something that they're creating for hype or attention, but it doesn't feel like that to me. Because again, pending App Store approvals and will allegedly be available to users as soon as Apple and Google releases it. I do like what I'm seeing here, and it kind of showcases the long-term mindset that I think Onyx has. Other projects out there, they seem to not really care, but I like how this one cares. Now, granted, another rebuttal, I would say, arguably, that people may have is that, but then a lot of other projects out there have wallets. Who cares about this? Well, to me, I'm totally aware of that, but I actually care about it because for the context of what Onyx is, I think this shows growth and progression in the fundamental standpoint of view. For instance, let's think about what did really XCN have going for it, I would say, arguably, when it had that pretty big run, like not too long ago, when the price was kind of stagnating and then suddenly it had that pretty good pump. Keep in mind, I would say arguably when that happened, there wasn't really much to latch on to fundamentally. I'm not saying in terms of hypertension, but again, in terms of fundamentals, what was there to really look forward to at that point? In my opinion, the main narrative that I saw at that time was that people kind of thought that this was kind of a little bit of a watered down version of Ripple and Stellar, or should I say XRP and XLM, and then maybe because of that, it had some hype. Now, of course, there's a pullback, but even despite that, in my opinion, arguably, I would say that in my perspective, I think fundamentally, Onyx feels better than before, even despite, again, the price not being the way it was not too long ago. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, how can that make sense? Isn't the price of XCN going down an indicator that, the fundamentals arguably became worse? I disagree with that in this case because even though I can't say in every single project's case, but in this one, I think the price of XCN going down isn't tied to the fundamentals because how would that even make sense? Again, the fundamentals arguably became better. I think that usually when altcoins aren't doing good, when there's a pullback and there's a lot of selling pressure, let's say a lot of people just sell, people just don't want to be in the project anymore, they move, kind of to other projects in terms of hype. There's a lot of factors. It's not necessarily tied to just the fundamentals of Onyx, you know what I mean? But this is just a way to take a look at it. And also, I think something else that I'm looking forward to when it comes to Onyx is Goliath. And at least, when it comes to the mainnet, which is expected to be released in Q1 of next year, that's something that I do like because if Onyx kind of already, in a sense, arguably delivered on their promise when it comes to the wallet in the, kind of grand scheme of things, in a sense where they're kind of still working towards it, if they've already kind of delivered on that in a sense where they still update and still work on it, I don't see why they wouldn't want to also kind of deliver on Goliath. Now, what is Goliath? Some people may be wondering. Goliath is allegedly going to be this layer 1 blockchain for the world of finance. This, by the way, again, I don't think is anything revolutionary. Like, for instance, Onyx, the way you take a look at it is that it's not necessarily trying to reinvent the wheel. Like, having a wallet, having a layer 1 blockchain for the world of finance, it's nothing groundbreaking, but I still like the progression nonetheless. And again, if XCN was able to do that not too long ago, what could it do? If there was a fully fledged type of altcoin season and now there's more to latch onto fundamentally speaking. Not to mention, if let's say XCN went to the price of 25 cents, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $8.7 billion. We have to consider that even though, in my opinion, this is never going to have the popularity of Shiba Inu or Dogecoin, Shiba Inu and Dogecoin, they reached pretty massive market caps back in 2021. That was years ago. In that bull run, or should I say, again, at that time, right, we saw Shiba Inu reach around $40 billion in market cap. We saw Dogecoin reach over 80 billion. And that was years ago. During the peak of that bull run, there was around 300 million crypto owners. Now there's over 600 million. That's way more. I get it. Some people like to say, okay, again, Dogecoin and Shiba Inu has more fans. Totally aware of that. But then, this is like such a small fraction of what it achieved years ago. Like, I don't think it is something too outlandish in the grand scheme of things. This is just my mindset. And I think as, let's say, the altcoin space does get better, if we do ever see a fully fledged type of altcoin season, and let's say Onyx, has good news about the wallet, has more good news when it comes to Goliath, I think that right there could already be something that I'm very looking forward to. And all I'm doing right now is literally just staying patient because that's the only thing I can do. But I don't mind staying patient when it comes to XCN because even despite the pullback, XCN was doing way better than before. So if I was bullish on XCN before, when there was kind of no really recent, I would say performance to kind of validate what it was able to do, I would say that it's arguably harder for me to believe in XCN back then when I first did so, as opposed to right now where there's more for me to kind of believe in. On top of the fundamentals, I've already seen what XCN did. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to do that again, but then at least I've seen that XCN had somewhat attention, and that was not even during a fully fledged type of altcoin season. So this is why I'm staying patient. Again, if something was way lower before with no really thing to prove that it was able to do anything, I think it would be a harder time for me to believe in it then. But then I still believed in it. So then now, despite the, rise and pullback, it's still better than before. So I still, I think, have more kind of this belief in the project. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, by the way, but this is just my mindset. This is the way I take a look at it. And some people like to say, okay, 25 cents, that's around 19x from here. Who cares about that? Well, again, to me, is XRP going to do even a 10x in the next 6 to 10 months? Now, keep in mind, XRP not too long ago, market cap was around 200 billion. Even just the idea of that doing like a 10x from where that point was, right? Let's say in the next 6 months, that's not something that I would necessarily kind of really be excited about because XRP reaches a hypothetical market cap of around 2 trillion? I'm not talking about 10 years later or something. I'm just saying the next 6 months. This is the way to take a look at it. So, take a look at Ethereum, right? Market cap, give or take, around $500 billion. XRP is going to 4x that in the next 6 months, what it is right now. I don't know if I believe in that, arguably. However, this is just my mindset. I do not know the future, but I'm going to stay patient, hold, and I just wait because I'm excited with XCN and I do like what it's doing fundamentally speaking when it comes to Onyx. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.